The parameters are pretty broad, Data. Any match we make is going to be inconclusive at best.
I am aware of that, Doctor. However, I can see no other reasonable course of investigation available to us. We may not have much time.
You're worried about Geordi, aren't you?
I am an android. It is not possible for
For
me
you to feel anxiety.
Starfleet personnel have vanished. Others may be at risk. We must do the best we can to find out why. However, I am strongly motivated to solve this mystery.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Fully Functional, a TNG podcast. I'm Maggie, joined by Jeff and Dory.
Yo.
Jeff and I are huge Star Trek nerds. Dory is a Star Trek novice, and we are taking her on her first journey through Star Trek The Next Generation. Today we'll be discussing the Season 4 episode Identity Crisis. Original air date March 23rd, 1991. And as always, we'll take it to Dory for the recap.
Okay, so I liked this episode. You guys, I enjoyed this.
That's
It's not my
surprising.
favorite, obviously, but like I enjoyed it.
I actually found it real boring, but all right, go ahead.
I mean, like, I enjoyed Geordi this episode. This felt not redeeming, but like, it felt normal. I don't know. It just didn't feel weird.
A fun fact before you get into it, actually, they were told from up top that because this was an episode featuring Geordi, that they had just done a little too much Geordi romance department stuff, so maybe keep that out of this script, and so they just did, and okay, I'll give them props for that.
Yeah, I think it paid off. I really liked his relationship with Suze. We'll get into that. Okay, so we start off where it's a we're basically looking at like a vlog, if you will.
We are looking at the only time in Starfleet history in which the entire mission is actually recorded on video. You'd think that would help more, but
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the crew from
Not
the
everyone
USS.
has a budget for an AV team, Jeff.
Yeah, the Enterprise and the USS Victory, apparently.
Oh, wait, no, sorry. The original Enterprise also had the budget for it. Maggie, if you recall the Menagerie, where the episode is about watching an episode of Star Trek.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't even want to touch that at this point.
Don't.
Okay. So this ship is the USS Victory. This is like 5 years ago from where we currently are. So this is Geordi's old crew. So they're on the planet. It's Geordi and 4 other people. Yeah. Because
Some people, some randos.
there's 3 people whose names I couldn't be bothered to learn except for Mendez, because Geordi pronounces the name Mendez really funny later in the episode. Anyways, okay. But the cool person we're really here for is, sorry, Geordi, is Susanna Layton? Doesn't matter.
It is Layton,
okay,
yeah.
Layton? Okay, great. She's, I think, lieutenant. I guess I think she's captain, right? I don't know. She's like high ranking. She's awesome. But she was on the planet with Geordi and the 3 others. 5 years ago. Oh, I wrote in my notes the name of the guy who was recording. Tony. No, his name was Anthony. And I don't, yeah. Okay. So, the reason they're watching this is because the other 3 randos have like full out disappeared. Everything was normal, and then they just like later days and walked away. So when they were there, they were investigating the disappearance of other people. Oh yeah, they also find like tattered clothes, which is a recurring thing in this episode. Oh no, twice. Is that recurring? Well, it's twice. Anyways, so okay, there was a disappearance of 49 people. We do, well, I guess technically find out what happened in theory, but yeah, okay. Anyways, so Geordi then catches up with Susanna, who he calls Suze, and then I continued to call her Suze in all of my notes because I like that nickname, and I liked Suze. So he's catching up with her, and oh yeah, she's like, I almost married this asshole that you hated, and he was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
which was kind of funny. But Geordi says that he's like loving the bachelor life. I was like, yeah, okay, sure you are,
Yeah.
Geordi. All of your other episodes have proven that's maybe not true. Okay, so then Riker calls them down so they don't have to drink the Kool-Aid because the drinks that they're drinking look like Kool-Aid, not the like, figurative. They literally look like they're drinking Kool-Aid. Anyways, okay. So, okay. Oh, one of the guys' name is Hickman because, man, yesterday's me remembered to write shit down. Good job, yesterday me. So they're following this guy Hickman's shuttle. He was one of the other guys. It's going really fast, and it's like at a rate. It's entering this atmosphere of the planet they were originally on 5 years ago. It's going really fucking fast, and it's gonna fucking explode. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get in contact with him. They do not get it, and he explodes. Which was honestly kind of watching that was a bummer. Sorry, that was a weird way to say. No, it just was like kind of sad, honestly.
Oh yeah.
It was like the I don't know. It just like it looked real.
It did.
If that makes sense. Well, okay, in this sense, honestly, it kind of made me think of like the Challenger explosion.
Okay, fair enough.
Just like, okay, well, when it was going like really fast, and it was like looked like it was not on fire, but like it was catching fire.
Yeah.
Like that to me looked really good and like kind of real. So I was like, oh shit, this is like the end.
Okay.
And then it explodes.
Okay, cool.
Like the actual explosion looked like a classic TNG explosion, but like before it exploded, I was like, oh no. So rip to him. So then they go down to the planet. There's 2 other shuttles on the planet. Okay, by the way, I was right that they went to another planet in my predictions.
Yeah.
So this wasn't a fun planet, but they did go to a planet. Mm-hmm. There's like
It's actually a super depressing planet.
yeah, it's a bummer of a planet. So, maybe they are down there. So there's like no life signs. Suze sees some questionable footprints and was like, I'm going to follow that. And I was like, no, Suze, don't. Geordi finds some shredded uniforms. And I wrote, are they digivolving? It's got to be their footprints. Like, there's not like somebody else there. It's got to be them.
Well, that's the only explanation.
Like this was like pretty quick. I'm kind of surprised it took everybody else that long to like figure it out. Like the second I saw the footprints, I was like, it's them. They're digivolving.
Yeah.
So then Sue's like, Geordi finds her because she's wandered away from the group to follow the footprints, and she like sees him as something scary, and so she like is freaking out. He like grabs her and is like, to sick bay. So she's starting to feel like the symptoms of whatever this like thing is that's like affecting the people from this mission. So so they're like, she wants to go down to the planet because that's the thing, is like they all want to go back to this planet. Mm-hmm. But everybody's like, Suze, you're not going to the planet, you're staying on the ship.
They have like this intense compulsion to get down there.
Yeah, so Geordi then takes her to Data for like the preliminary report to like get her mind, like to be like, look, we've got something else to focus on. So Dr. C tells Picard that she bioscanned Geordi and he's fine, but that's like, so that happened to like the other people also. They were scanned and they were totally fine, so that's not like reassuring. And then Data's like, footprints are not recognizable, and I'm like, I know what it is, Data. Christ.
Come on, Data.
So,
get with the program.
Yeah. So like Geordi and Suze try to like go through their original logs for like something in common. They're not really seeing anything. Oh my gosh. Okay, this was nice. Data. So Dr. C asks Data, like, Data, are you worried about Geordi? And Data's like, no, I don't worry, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I am very motivated, though, to figure out what's going on. I was like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
Because he's like, I'm an android. I don't feel worry. And Dr. C's like, are you sure about that, Data?
Yeah.
Like,
It was very sweet, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so now, like, Suze is, like, not doing great. She really wants to go to the planet, but then she collapses. And, okay, I laughed, not for Suze, but did you guys notice in the background, when Suze went down, there was a guy who started to come towards her, and then, like, he stopped.
No, I didn't.
Like, Geordi went over to her, and then he just kind of stops, and I'm just like, oh, you just, like, okay. It kind of made me laugh. Okay, so then we see like the back of her neck. She's got like all these blue, like really prominent blue veins, and her fingers are being fused. Oh no. So then we learn that she's like really sensitive to light. So Geordi goes in to see Suze, and he goes, "Oh God!" And I'm like, "Geordi, like she's like conscious, like that's like, be cool."
Yeah.
So, but honestly, okay, I will say, there are parts of this episode where the makeup looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
There are parts where, like, it doesn't, but there are parts where it does.
So,
And
there's actually a little bit of interesting backstory to that, because there was some popular kind of blooming that had been done. Actually, it had previously been also done on Star Trek, but it was popular in television at the time, and they were originally thinking of doing that, and then for some screen test like the year before, they were doing something regarding ultraviolet, and it didn't work out for what they wanted to use it for at the time. But for some reason, I think it was Michael Piller who remembered it and was just like, "Hey, yo, why don't we try this and see how that looks?" And they ended up really liking how it looked. And
It did
to
look
be
cool.
fair, it is effective in what they're trying to do. But one of the things that kind of bugs me about it is I think that even in standard definition, specifically because in standard def colors are like muddied and they don't look that great, it did not look great in standard def. And I think the jump to high def didn't necessarily help it, because where it doesn't look good, I find overshadows where it does.
well, I think that, like, when it's dark, it looks good. But when they give them too much light, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no."
Yeah, and they give them too much
They
light
can see a little too
kind of
much.
often. So that kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, it kind of went in and out, but, like, I found it to be effective. When it was, like, good, it was good.
That's kind of the it's kind of the golden rule with like monster makeup is like don't put too much light on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So, like, yeah. Also, the eyes. Sorry. That looked freaking cool, too. Okay.
Oh,
Anyways,
did you notice that one of the eyes isn't straight?
I didn't.
When
But
they're
that's funny.
outside, when they're outside again, I don't know what the hell happened, but I guess the day that they were shooting that, Geordi's what do you call it? I think it's his left eye. The contact that they used turned, so like one of them is upright and the other one is horizontal, and I'm just like, oh geez, that looks weird. Like your eyes are quite literally just very different now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then Dr. C's like, "Yeah, it's transforming." I'm like, "Yeah, Dr. C, I fucking said that at the beginning. Like, catch up, bro." And Geordi is very calm. She's like, she tells him that he might have weeks to a few hours, and he's like, "Okay." Like, he is very chill for this.
I mean, considering the episode is a bit of a thriller, I don't really... Maybe that's why I didn't like it very much. I don't think they really captured that mood very well.
Yeah, there were elements of it that was good, but they didn't really put the whole package together.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as tense as it's supposed to be.
Maybe that's like, maybe I liked it because it was like not scary, but like it's like light, scary light.
Yeah.
That's fair.
A light fright, if you will.
Okay, I think we found the title of the episode.
I'm trying to remember the jingle for Light Bright, because that just reminds me of.
Light
Oh.
bright, first star I see tonight. I don't know why they said that, but...
Well, light fright.
Okay, so then like Geordi's trying to think of shit, and then Data comes up very close behind him and scares him. That was funny. So Suze is like changing even more rapidly. Dr. C's like, "I think there's something inside," and like check her genetic shit.
Oh, no.
Her genetic shit. Or check her genetics. And then Geordi is rewatching the footage and notices like a shadow in the background. I could not see this shadow until finally they made it really obvious. I could not figure out what the fuck he was looking at.
I did notice it, but I actually had to rewind a couple of times to do it. To be perfectly fair, this probably didn't look all that clear in the original episode either, especially since in standard definition it would have been muddied quite a bit, and we were watching them on old CRT TVs and whatnot. But I think that the the entire process of starting from him noticing one thing that's just a little bit off and then breaking it down from there was probably the most effective part of the episode. They do something similar in an episode. I don't remember if it's this season or next season or whatever, but at some point in the future they do something similar, except they go backwards, where they are trying to solve something on the holodeck by slowly putting it together piece by piece. Whereas in this one, Maggie, you know which one I'm talking about, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the process was cool. It's just like when he first initially notices it, like when he's just watching the footage, like not on the holodeck. Yeah. They like zoom in and it's
Enhance.
Like what and it's like what the hell is that? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're looking at.
But I think that's kind of the point, that like Geordi is so obsessively looking at this over and over and over and over, and finally he finds something that's a little off, and it's not even something that most people would notice.
Well, because the thing is, they tell you exactly where to look, and I was like, I still can't fucking see it.
Yeah, because at that point of the episode, they're trying to show the audience what it is, but they just didn't do a good job.
That's
because,
true.
Like,
the audience
if you didn't watch the episode, he's like, the footage
There's like a shadow beside a shadow.
Yeah, the way that the shadows is done is not effective enough. That's for sure.
it's a shadow that's sort of like within a shadow, like part of it is like sticking out of another shadow. And he's like, wait, whose shadow is that? And I'm like, the fucking lady that's right there. Like, that's obviously her shadow. But then as they, like, sort of reveal it later, there's, like, this, like, extra bit to it that, like, isn't part of her. And it's like,
spooky, scary bit. Ooh. Okay, so, okay.
Oh,
so
man,
then,
sorry. Just on the holodeck when they reveal that, like, gray blob person.
Wait, oh my gosh, we're going to get to that. We haven't gotten to that in the recap yet.
Shit, I'm sorry.
Boy.
We haven't even, I'm just about to say we went into the holodeck.
Oh shit, I'm sorry. Frankly, I kind of wasn't paying attention for the past couple minutes.
Gasp. The audacity. Okay, so Geordi's in hands to try to see the shadow, and he's like, what if I redid it in real life? So he goes to the holodeck and to remake basically the scene that it was back on the planet 5 years ago. But then he notices his hands are shaking, so gasp. So he's in there and he starts to remove people one by one so he can narrow down the shadow. And then he says to remove Mendez, which just the way he pronounced it I thought was really funny. And then you see like creepy, weird, just like ominous shadow thing. And then you see, then he's like, and what made this shadow? And computer's like, I can't fucking figure it out. And he's like, okay, pretend it's me or something. And they're like, okay, we can figure it out. So they make a blob, and the blob is like gray and very weird and just very disturbing looking.
Yeah. Upsetting is a good word. It's very it's very
even
upsetting.
Riker is like at one point Riker's season is like okay, so then Geordi's hands and like the veins are like coming in on his neck and everything, and his hands are like fusing. So basically what Dr. C figures out is that it's a parasite that is using their immune systems to spread genetic instructions, transforming their DNA to match its own. So Dr. C does surgery to remove the parasite from Suze. And I wrote, the computer has done a terrible job of monitoring Geordi. Because earlier on, they're like, okay, Geordi, you need to like stay in sickbay. And he's like, no, I need to figure this out. We'll have the computer monitor me if anything's going on. Yeah. And everybody's like, sounds great. The computer did jack shit. Geordi's busy freaking like, I know he was like in the holodeck, but like, computer, you're there too.
Well, the thing is that like, because of the changes to his body, the computer doesn't recognize him anymore. So he's like,
that was like later. Because
he's untrackable.
Because but I would think he would still be trackable like at the early stages. It's not like it disappears. Like, he was pretty far gone by the time they actually look for him. Sorry, spoiler, I jumped ahead a little bit there. Okay. Anyways, okay, so Dr. C does surgery to remove parasite and Suze. It actually goes very, very well. So Dr. C calls for Geordi. The computer says he's not on the ship, but there's no transporter action or no shuttles have left. So Dr. C thinks Geordi is transformed enough that sensors won't recognize him. So Worf and Riker go into holodeck 3, and yeah, the blob looks like creepier. Riker's like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then Worf finds Geordi's shredded uniform, and then the transporter...
To shreds, you say?
Yeah. Shredded threads. So then, okay, we're on the transporter room, and I'm like, why are we here? And all of a sudden, the doors open, and an invisible thing that we can still see shows up. Okay, but honestly, that looked kind of good. Like, it was too tall, but still looked fine. I was like, what the fuck? Like, that, like, got me, like, nervous for a minute. So this, like, quote-unquote invisible figure pushes the guy at the holodeck down. Oh, sorry, not the holodeck. The transporter room. Where is O'Brien? What's he?
He's not in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was busy doing something else.
Well,
No, he wasn't in the budget.
It might have been his, like, day off.
I see him. I see what he's up to.
Slacking.
Yeah. Okay, and then so the invisible body goes onto the transporter platform, and we have like a really quick glimpse of like the Geordi alien. It was creepy. That glimpse was like shook me for a sec. I was like, holy shit. Okay, so then they can't... Oh, Suze is fine, actually. Okay, you guys, Suze recovers, and I am
Way
so
too fast.
happy. Listen, I'm team Suze.
Yeah.
So I'm happy she was fine. So
Well, you're
they
going to
go
be
down-
real happy the next time that she shows up on Star Trek. Never.
Yay! Oh, I thought you were leading to see that we were going to see Suze again, and I was excited. Oh no, we're never going to see Suze again.
Okay, you never see most characters again.
Suze. Well, she'll be... I'll tell you something. This will definitely be one of my favorite one-off characters in the season 4 retrospective.
Yeah.
So this will not be the last of Suze, for me at least, or for talking about me.
I really liked her dynamic with Geordi, too.
Oh, yeah. It was really nice and, like, friendly and natural. Okay, but hold on. We'll get to that. Hold on. Okay, so they go down to they can't really use sensors on the planet to find Geordi, and I don't know how they determine it's an hour, but they're like, Geordi is an hour until it's irreversible, and he stays this way forever. So Data makes a thing to sense Geordi. I think it's like that ultraviolet light thing. And so Geordi, when he beamed down, he went to where like the other shuttles were. So Suze goes down to the planet with Riker, Dr. C, Data, Worf. Yeah. And she kind of like, I don't know, Suze like gets what's going on all of a sudden. She's like, the aliens are reproducing, and this is how they do it. They just turn people, and that's how they reproduce. And it's like,
Well, she
okay.
was basically one of them for a while, so she
Yeah.
probably like understands their motivations now.
oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's honestly like kind of interesting. It's like a different approach than what they've done on this so far, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was it was cool. Okay. So then Suze is like, we get down, and she's like, they're all over there. And we just sort of see like kind of invisibly moving, but then Data shines his lantern. That shot of you when you see them for the first time was actually really scary.
Yeah.
So, okay, everybody is like head to toe blue veins, like bright, and they got these like yellow glowing eyes, and they look terrifying. And there's like a bunch of them. And
Because it's like everyone that went missing is one of them.
Yeah, has turned into
The
I don't know, I
parasite
couldn't even-
alien or whatever.
yeah, I couldn't even come up with like a cool name.
Yeah.
A cool name, a dumb name, just a nickname
Well,
rather.
It was kind of like all mystiques, you know?
Oh yeah, okay. Veiny Mystique.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, that does sound gross. Okay. Yeah, okay, so then they follow Geordi into like this cave, and Suze is kind of able to like talk him down a bit and trying to like get through to him. And she like puts her hand out. Honestly, I actually watched this scene and didn't take notes, which is a real first for me. I didn't take notes. I just like watched a scene to enjoy it. It was a really good scene. It was nice. She she had her hand out and she's like, you like pulling him back from like, you'll stay like this forever, but there's more for whatever. I don't remember. This is what happens. This is why I need to take notes, because I don't remember what she said to him. But yeah, she's able to convince Geordi to take her hand. This is also when you see the costume is bad.
Yes.
So, because he's in like the light of the cave, these costumes look cool in the dark, only in the dark. Although Sue's when she was on the bed in like the costume, it looked kind of like the makeup looked cool. Yeah. I think it looked pretty good on her.
I thought like when she was in sick bay, her the eyes looked really cool.
Yeah. So Geordi then takes her hand and they go up to the ship and they're able to do surgery for Geordi to like take the parasite out of him. But then he's like, we get to see him, and okay, honestly, the makeup didn't look great. Like the veins like on the neck did not look good on Geordi when he was in recovery from his surgery, and they go over and they give him the visor. Everything was like, the makeup was not it there. It seemed really like fake. But then yeah, Geordi and Suze are adorable and fun, and like, this is how I want Geordi to just be like, Geordi, you don't have to fuck everything. You can just be friends with a woman. Yeah. Like, this is a perfect example of you can just be friends with a woman. You don't have to fuck her.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, is that, like, at least the way I interpreted it, it seemed like they were implying that, like, he had a thing for her. And, like, it's like, good on you for, like, being able to be normal around someone you have a thing for, you know?
Oh, I didn't get that at all. I just thought they were good friends, but I mean, who knows?
Well, when they're having that, we'll talk about it later. Finish up the recap.
Oh no, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is the end of the episode.
Everybody's fine.
Yeah, so I like when they're having that conversation in 10 Forward. She was like, they're talking about like how she would give him advice and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I forget what he says, but the way he says it implies like, oh, you like she says something like, oh, like you like despite all the advice I gave you, and he said
he likes his bachelor life.
Yeah, but he talks about something after that, where he kind of implies that it's like, he never went after anyone because he was into her, or like they just never got together or something like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that, but I mean, I could just totally missed it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I like to see them just purely as friends, and I really like that because they had good chemistry. Suze was great.
Oh yeah,
Geordi was great in this episode. I loved his like whole problem solving, and the like. Yeah, I liked this episode. It's not my favorite, but I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think this was a really solid episode. Like, this is one of those episodes that was better than I remember it being.
I think also it comes after a string of episodes that made me very angry.
Yeah.
That's completely fair.
So something that like didn't upset me just gets points.
Because, several of the other episodes prior to this are not great.
Oh, okay.
They're
so
upsetting.
Sorry. I went back and I looked up the scene I was talking about. And Geordi's like, oh, you know, I'm just enjoying the bachelor life too much. And she's like, oh, that doesn't sound like the little brother who always wanted advice about women. And then he's like, well, obviously you were a great advisor. And then they just kind of like exchange some looks. And to me, I kind of interpreted that it's like maybe he had a crush on her or something.
I thought he said to her that she wasn't a great advisor, and then she kind of like smirked about it.
1 sec.
Hold on, guys. We're just gonna rewatch the episode.
Well, no, he says she was a great advisor.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Says, well, yeah, obviously you were and then he pauses, He says, great advisor.
I mean, maybe that's sarcastic. That's kind of how I picked up on it.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I got it too, because he's made kind of a fuck up of everything in like other relationships.
Like, listen, I could totally be interpreting it wrong, because like it can be read that way, but the tone in which he says it and the looks they exchange, it didn't come off sarcastic to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So I don't know.
In this particular thing, we
totally
can agree
wrong.
to disagree, but like it doesn't change much. Still a fan of their relationship, whatever it is. Simple. This is probably like the least amount of notes I've written in a long time.
Yeah, it's not really that deep of an episode, but it is like, you know, the way, like I thought the actress and LeVar Burton did a really good job sort of acting the condition like sort of coming on. Like I thought they really did a good job of like how they like when they started shaking. Like sometimes that can look like really fake, but I thought they did a good job of it. I agree with that. I thought the Suze, the actress for Suze, did a good job acting like paranoid and like, you know, just obsessive, and yeah, I just thought the acting was good in this episode. And the sort of more like atmospheric bits I thought were good too. Like I really like at the beginning that video that they're watching, because it looks really creepy because it's at night and they have the one like harsh light on them, and it just it's very reminiscent of like exactly like found footage movies where it's just like you have only the Blair Witch's inspiration.
Blair Witch, the next generation.
Yeah, exactly. You have like just the one harsh light source with the hard shadows. Like it looks like a flash photo, you know.
When they went to get funding, they sat down like, you guys remember that episode of TNG when Geordi turned into an alien? Yeah. That's what we're going for.
Yeah, and then like the makeup bits, like when I don't know how to finish off this thought. I just I thought there were a bunch of good bits in this episode. It's not like the most mind-blowing episode ever, but it's solid.
Yeah. I really okay, I liked the episode, of course, but I think I really liked the holodeck bits. Because I liked Geordi's way of like reenacting the scene and taking things apart piece by piece. I know you said like they kind of do opposite later, which I'm looking forward to, but this just kind of felt like physical puzzle.
Yeah, I find that Star Trek, like when they do that sort of like puzzle breakdown thing, I always really enjoy that. When they go like step by step, like eliminating possibilities and like eliminating variables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's always very enjoyable to watch.
This kind of had like the, you know, mystery element, which is maybe why I liked it. Because I'm kind of able to get through like a thriller if it's like a mystery or something.
Yeah.
There's two things that Star Trek consistently does very well. One of them is investigational breakdowns, and the other one is mysteries. Throughout the series, those two end up being some of their strongest plot devices that they use. And I mean, it's not always the case. Star Trek also, it's a drama. It when it does do drama really well, holy shit, does it stand out. But like those are some of the devices that they use that end up turning what could otherwise be a lackluster episode into a much more enjoyable episode. Throughout the series, you're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah, the conclusion may not always be satisfying, but I find the process is usually really well done.
Yes.
When it comes to mysteries.
This episode, I actually found the conclusion, I mean, I don't know necessarily satisfying, but I didn't find it to be like so like zip and closed. Because we do get to find out what happened to all these missing people. They were all turned into the aliens, and it makes sense because, like, I mean, I think it's because we see Sue's turn early on. So, like, and the thing is, like, we know it's going to happen to Geordi. Like, for a second, I was like, maybe it doesn't, but like it does, and like you know that like it's like he's in danger. And I do like that we've learned they didn't die. They're all there. They're all in their like invisible veiny world. Just
Yeah.
Vain land.
veining it up.
That's like a good example of how like giving the audience the knowledge of what's happening can be a good thing, because
Yeah, I mean, this episode also feels thought through.
yeah.
For once, like it felt like a lot of thought went into this, because the parasite wanting to like reproduce this way, like that's different than what we've seen before that I can remember.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting, and the conclusion was different, and it all kind of came together. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
you are in luck in terms of the background of it, because there was a lot of thought that went into it. It started off as a spec script that Brannon Braga really wanted to do something with, and he had been like tweaking it over and over for a long time. And originally, it wasn't actually a LaForge story. It was I don't think they specified actually. It was someone else, but like the whole point, the thing that I think gives the episode its strength is that you could technically put any character in Geordi's place and write a story around it, but
Yeah.
choosing Geordi ended up being positive on the episode as a whole. Well, I guess you couldn't do it with Data, but any other character you could have.
Yeah.
I feel like Geordi was definitely the best choice though, because in terms of like the tech of it, the like just, I don't know, some of the logistics. Not that like Riker or Picard or whoever would be able to figure it out, but it just feels like Geordi's more like kind of more inquisitive.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It felt very natural that it would be him that this happened to.
That's fair.
Yeah. Because it's usually I find a detriment if you're like, wow, this could be any of the characters and it would be the same. But I think in this case, you're right. It is.
I think Geordi was definitely like they made the right choice.
Yeah.
Geordi was definitely the
I think
best
so.
character.
Like
Because I could see like Worf getting really mad really early.
Yeah. I think
And
this would have
just-
worked like with other characters, but I do feel like Geordi was the best choice. Yeah, because he is kind of like a tech nerd, and he's like
Yeah.
and
Being this early in Brannon Braga's career, though, this is definitely one of the stronger outings that he ends up doing earlier on, because when he gets to the point where he's writing like 50 episodes of Voyager, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. Is Brannon Braga the guy who likes to do mindfuck episodes?
Yes,
Yeah,
you will see him later in a couple of very interesting standout episodes.
Yeah, he that's the thing, is like he does like good mindfuck episodes until a certain point, because at a certain point it becomes clear that he likes mindfuck episodes, because any sort of like issues with the script, it's just like, well, it's a mindfuck, you know?
Yeah.
You just kind of like can hand wave it away.
I think earlier in his career, what it came down to is that he had more oversight.
Yeah.
And once he was basically co-showrunning Voyager, like that oversight was gone. It was him and the lead executive producer doing
Yeah.
everything, and they pretty much had like full say over what to do.
That's the thing, is that like not every writer makes a good showrunner.
That's right.
Yeah. So like it's it's much different writing like a good episode here and there, or even like contributing to like an arc than running the show.
Though at the same time, Brannon Braga was equally responsible for some of the most successful parts of Voyager. So like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's a very weird situation where he's clearly a good writer, but a good writer is not universally good in their output,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when writing for weekly television. And I mean, there's already some episodes within TNG that we'll see later on that are not great that he ends up doing.
Yeah.
I don't think he ends up being responsible for any flat out bad. Oh wait, Nope, my mistake. He is responsible for a flat-out bad one. I
Yeah.
won't get into what.
So it's like he got to where he did for a reason.
Yes.
But I think he kind of advanced a little beyond what he was entirely capable of doing well.
Interestingly, when he first wrote this episode, he wrote it as a horror.
Mm-hmm. That definitely comes through to me.
Yeah, they deliberately toned that down, though.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, okay, well, here's what we think works about that, and here's what we don't think works about that. And they ended up, shifting focus to be more of a mystery. And, like, the elements of thriller horror are still there, but like I said, I don't think those elements were entirely effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we just like before this was Night Terror, right? So like,
Yep.
that was the horror. Did we need to have two horror in a row? No.
Yeah.
So this one is a thriller. I'll take it. Mystery. Haha.
Because this is thriller.
I'm not sure what my sentence structure just was. It's like just verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
It's coming out. Ah.
I noticed something that's a little bit of a plot hole, and sadly it's kind of a big one considering what was going on. So when they're down on the planet, Suze mentions that they're like absolutely terrified of light. Like, don't shine a light there or they're gonna like go fucking running.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Except, how did they find the first one in the video who was standing right there in the middle of a bright light?
Well,
Yeah.
Why?
okay. I do have I do have a possible theory about this.
Okay.
He was hiding in their shadows,
Yeah, okay,
and
but
just a little part of him got exposed.
Oh my god. The dog that I live with does that when it's too sunny out. We went to the park a while ago and he sat down under my shadow because it was too hot. Oh, that's
Maggie,
so
I think that
cute.
explains why he was like hiding in their shadows in the first place. It doesn't explain how he got there in the middle of the light in the first place.
Also, how did he get the parasite to them? How does the parasite get transferred?
Yeah, they never really explained to that.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit of an AIDS allegory where like nobody knows, but we're gonna make assumptions, but they didn't make assumptions. It like the original spec script was obviously quite different in what it was going for.
Yeah.
Brandon Braga had ideas about what he wanted to go for with it as soon as they approached it.
Yeah, because I'm like, that's the shittiest AIDS allegory I've ever heard.
It is a pretty bad
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind regarding AIDS allegory, like it's not directly discussing any sort of like social commentary regarding it, but at the time this was 10 years after AIDS was really discovered. And this is an episode about
acknowledged.
this is an episode about a virus that hijacks the immune system, which AIDS was like the novel virus that introduced that to the medical world. It's a very new concept.
Yeah.
Now that being said, the episode really has nothing to do with AIDS other than that novel concept. There are, I think, other episodes that kind of tackle that, not in TNG, but
yeah, it sounds more like it's not trying to say anything about AIDS, it was just inspired by AIDS.
Yeah.
Which
I
is a
think that's
weird
pretty-
sentence.
Yeah.
Inspired by AIDS. That what's real sad actually. This is a little bit of TNG trivia that could go in any episode, but I'm gonna put it right here. There was a real excellent sounding script for TNG that somebody wrote. It was called Blood and Fire, and the episode was it was an AIDS allegory, and it was a gay relations allegory that would have happened in the early 1990s, which would have been a huge thing.
Yeah.
And of course, Rick Berman was just like, gay people, I think not, and shot it down. And the episode did actually eventually get adapted. However, adapted? No. It did eventually get an adaptation. Fuck.
Yeah,
The
I
word.
think adapted
Yeah.
I think
Is it
adapted
adapted?
is the correct word, yeah.
Okay.
It was adapted to screen.
Okay. The the word. The episode did eventually get adapted. However, it was not adapted in the mainline Star Trek series. It was adapted by a fan series called Star Trek New Voyages, also known as Star Trek Phase 2, the fan series, which has a weird place in Star Trek history of being a very faithful TOS adaptation. One of two very faithful TOS adaptations. And the episode ended up starring George Takei as their not as their gay character, but like as a main character in the story. Mm-hmm. And it was just a real interesting choice to be like, hey, let's take this story that was infamous in like the Star Trek fandom for never getting an adaptation. Let's make an episode around that in our TOS series. And then they ended up calling up the guy who wrote it and were like, hey, could you give us some like script adaptation ideas for this? And so they talked with him a little bit, and eventually it led to him directing the episode of a fan film.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. That's really cool.
So, yeah, fun bit of Trek trivia there.
Yeah,
Was this something that happened often? Like they would adapt, like a fan group would like adapt like episodes that weren't made, or how would people know about this back then?
Spec scripts were okay. So here's the thing about early Star Trek. Star Trek actually got onto the internet pretty early in terms of how it was discussed with the fandom and whatnot. So like, for instance, when DS9 was running, they had like a Usenet group where they were sitting down and having live conversations, chats with people online in like 1996, 97. And people would ask them background information and whatnot. And it was like having like a Comic-Con panel, except it was right there on the internet, which was super cool. Kind of like a Reddit AMA, except everything's done in more real time. And a lot of background information was written down and recorded about Star Trek and published in various ways. In fact, one of the main resources that I use for talking about the series is a book called the Star Trek Next Generation Compendium, which has background info on every single episode in the series. So yeah, there was a lot of conversation that people got to have with people who worked behind the scenes, and they would talk about ideas that they wanted to do, ideas that they never ended up doing, scripts that they rejected, scripts that they wished that they had written, that sort of thing. And I'm not positive if this particular script flat out made it out onto the internet, but several of the spec scripts or even internal scripts that were written eventually did make their way out there.
Yeah. Star Trek was kind of like one of the first, like I like sort of internet fandoms, or one of the first fandoms powered by the internet.
Yes.
And people were very dedicated.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So there's this, I think early on, Star Trek was sort of threatened to be canceled. I think this is the original series.
It
and
was.
Sort of the legend goes that there was a letter writing campaign to get it back on the air.
It's not a legend. It is 100% true.
Yeah.
The person who started it actually just celebrated their birthday like a week ago or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people were like very dedicated to it.
Yes.
Do we know how many like letters were sent to save the show?
Tens of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they talked about that quite a bit. That's what got the third season of Star Trek of the original series put onto the air.
Mm-hmm. And one of the worst episodes ever made.
Yes, but the third season's a bit of a weird situation because they moved it into like a death time slot, and a lot of the producers were no longer involved in that point. Gene Roddenberry was only barely being involved. He was working on other projects. He actually wrote a pilot for another show into a season of the original series because he was like, well, this is all going to go off the air anyway, so I might as well write an episode that I can turn into another TV show.
Was it that weird,
he was doing a backdoor pilot?
Yeah.
Yes,
was it that
that's
weird,
exactly what he did.
Was it that weird like spy one where they have
that's
to
the
like
one.
start
the Assignment Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like go back in time and they have to like stop a nuclear bomb from going off or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's this there's this spy in it named Gary Seven, who
Yeah.
of course is a James Bond knockoff kind of thing. Also, keeping in mind James Bond was pretty new at the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the name Gary is
Yeah.
Yeah.
funny.
And he has a shape-shifting talking cat.
Yeah.
What's the cat's name?
I can't remember.
Yeah. I think Jeff, correct me if
Gary
I'm wrong.
7.
Mm-hmm.
But I think back in the 60s, like, I think when Star Trek was, like, airing, I think it was, like, the perception of it was, like, just, like, some shitty show that, like, housewives watched.
Yes, and hilariously enough, the Nielsen rating system that I think is the same one that we use today for tracking like how much shows are being watched was it wasn't put into effect, but it was like heavily reformed in the 1970s, and they ended up applying that to their data from Star Trek and realized, oh shit, this show was actually really successful and we didn't know it because our rating system was not working like and giving us the right information at the time.
Yeah. And the Nielsen ratings still fucking suck.
They do, but the point
but it
is
was
that
even
they
worse.
did not realize how much success they were actually getting out of the show. They thought it was a bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, you
And,
guys,
like-
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I googled what was Gary Seven's cat named. Isis.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
I remember that now.
A shape-shifting pet cat named Isis.
Yeah.
Well, Isis seemed to speak telepathically with Gary Seven. The actress who played Isis in her human form never spoke. Great.
Yeah, that's very 1960s.
Gary Seven and Isis.
Yeah. So, and it's actually like, women are, really responsible for getting Star Trek to where it's come.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because-
that I think we've
so-
talked about, like the fan fiction and
Yeah, the
conventions.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
like,
awesome.
women were the first ones to start conventions, and they kept the property alive through like fan fiction and zines and stuff.
And it's
And,
funny
yeah.
because then the movies started coming out and they were not geared towards women at all.
Yeah. All right. No, that was our TOS corner, our Star Trek history corner.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I think unless anyone has anything else about the episode they want to talk about, should move on to favorite moments and the like.
All right.
I mean, I think I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to favorite moments.
Okay. Suze. Just Suze and Geordi hanging out. Dr. C had a good time this episode.
Yeah.
She got a lot to do. Her blowout looked great.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, her hair just A++ this episode. And the holodeck. Oh, the holodeck shit was great.
Yeah.
Geordi, Suze, the holodeck, and Dr. C in her hair.
Yeah, I think a lot of my favorite stuff is the same as yours. I really liked the chemistry between Geordi and Suze. I liked the vibes of the episode because I like atmospheric horror, and there's definitely some elements of that in there. I thought it was really cool and creepy when you first see Susanna's eyes are like glowing yellow. Yeah. I don't have many like specifics that are like oh that was really cool, that really stood out to me. I thought this was like just generally a solid episode.
Yeah, good vibes episode.
Yeah. It's nothing terribly special, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
My favorite things about the episode are how often it ended up forgetting that it had things in its either technological or character arsenal that could have dramatically changed how the episode went. For instance, Troy being used at any point at all would have really ruined the mystery, eh?
Yeah, just be like, hey, Troy, tell us where you sense these people.
Yeah, that would have fixed stuff.
Yeah.
Also, when they couldn't find Geordi, so they went to go chase him on the holodeck, and it's like, why don't you just turn off the holodeck?
Yeah.
They're like, fan out, search this way, I'll search that way. And I'm like, turn off the program.
Yeah, also,
Guys.
okay, also, if they're concerned about Geordi leaving the Enterprise, why don't you just, like, change his codes and, like, lock him out of the transporter? Like, surely you can
All right, that's something Star Trek always forgets to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, hey, you can, like, I'm sure you can just be like, hey, computer, don't let Geordi transport off the ship. Like, it shouldn't, it shouldn't be up to purely Geordi.
Yeah, definitely not.
This is why I said the computer did a jack shit, did terrible job of monitoring.
So, now, on to predictions for the next episode. So, the next episode is called The Nth Degree.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
For the record, N is a like it's algebra. It's a stand-in for a number that is not known.
yeah.
I better not have to do math. I
No,
will
no,
lose
you
my
don't.
fucking mind.
But-
No, don't worry. That happens in the episode instead.
Well, have you ever heard the phrase, like, sort of taking something to the nth degree?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's based on that sort of
Okay.
phrase. And we have, in this episode, we have the return of Lieutenant Barclay.
Reg, he
Yeah.
better have fucking learned his lesson.
Reg!
Lieutenant Broccoli.
Yeah. So, in this episode, Lieutenant Barclay gets a sudden, unexplained burst of confidence and intellect.
Oh no. That can only go poorly.
So that's your clue.
Oh god, Reg, why do you gotta be this way?
I didn't say he does anything cringe. I just said he gets an unexplained
He
boost
will.
of confidence.
It doesn't matter. He will. He got such a boost of confidence in the holodeck, and he was such a creep. Ugh. Reg. Ugh. I want to hope that he's learned his lesson. Mm-hmm. But I have a feeling he's still gonna be cringy. Oh, Christ. Reg! What the fuck? Oh, God. Okay. Okay. Reg is confident. Mm-hmm. He's feeling himself.
Yeah. What do you think caused it?
Promotion? Was he? I don't think he was lieutenant before, was he?
I'm pretty sure he was. Jeff,
Oh, okay.
was he a lieutenant before?
I think he's just lieutenant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lieutenant Barclay.
Yeah.
Oh, he was lieutenant before?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so does he get a girlfriend? This will be cringy. That's worse than him getting a promotion.
Is him getting a girlfriend?
Like, I don't hate Reg. I just am not a fan.
Yeah.
What would give Reg confidence? Maybe he's makes a discovery that is significant. Oh, does he actually show up to places on time? Is that what gives him confidence? He's praised for getting to places on time. Wow, Reg, you haven't been late in months. He's like, that makes me feel confident in my work that I can get on time.
Yeah.
Or is he confident he can make it to places on time? Okay, I'm getting too, like,
Yeah.
I'm overthinking it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Think
God,
about
what
would
makes
they-
people go?
Would they make an episode revolving around him just being like, "Hey, I'm doing good."
No, Reg fucking did something. Sorry, Reg, I think the worst of you. Oh, God. I
Eventually
think
you won't.
I think it's got to be either like I keep going back. He got a fucking girlfriend. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Okay,
Because like, yeah, because it feels like he felt. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna guess he got a girlfriend.
Okay.
Reg got a girlfriend, and now he thinks he's real cool. But it feels like very like high school first like partner, first girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. He's like, well, I'm cool now. Reg, you're not.
And how do you think that this resolves?
Not well. Knowing Reg, it's going to end badly. He's going to start with a girlfriend. Like maybe okay, here's my storyline. Okay. Maybe they're on a planet, they come back like for relaxation. They're not like they went down to a planet. No. They're like back from a break. He meets a lady and he's like, this is my girlfriend. And she also, I guess, works for Starfleet. yeah, he's like real proud, and he like maybe okay, knowing Reg, he probably fucking lied to her. Reg might have like been like, oh yeah, I am like the big. He might have literally done what he did in the holodeck.
He's like,
No,
I'm
Reg.
the fucking first officer or some shit. He pretends to be Riker.
Oh my god, you guys, what if Reg has a girlfriend, but she lives in Canada? But she's real. But she lives on another, she works on another ship.
Yeah. She's from a planet called Canada. All right.
Yeah, okay, so I'm guessing Reg gets a girlfriend. He gets his like his confidence like it's gets a little, he girl bosses a little too close to the sun.
Yeah.
And then it like shatters. He fucks up and it goes very poorly. She breaks up with him and he's back to his like bummerness.
All right.
But Reg, prove me wrong. I want to be wrong, actually. Do I? I don't know. We'll see.
You're going with rom-com.
Yes, but no happily ever after.
All right. Well, if you'd like to see if Dory's correct, watch along with us and join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.